Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Today is a special day as we have contacted the National Weather Service Milwaukee Sullivan and meeting a new meteorologist on the team down in Sullivan. Kevin Wagner is here with us via Skype, taking the time out during their busy time here as they've got a big storm moving into the area. Although maybe I shouldn't use the word big, Kevin. I don't know how you guys, the terminology there, you gotta kind of tell me.
It's kind of subjective, depending where you're from and what you're used to for snow. So
right. Well, we have quite the storm here as we are talking about starting this afternoon through Saturday again. Kevin, if you could just start us off here, kind of give us the breakdown. What are we looking at here in the next 24 to 48 hours?
So we got a storm system moving across the plains right now. Areas down in Missouri and the plains are starting to see some of that freezing rain with this system. But this stuff should gradually move into the Wisconsin area later this afternoon, out west by Madison sometime around 2 p.m. and then work its way eastward towards the Milwaukee area overnight. And initially we're expecting mostly snow with this through the evening commute and tonight, but eventually after around midnight and through the Saturday morning, we're expecting it to maybe transition to a wintry mix more along the Illinois-Wisconsin border. So you could see some sleet and some freezing rain with it. So that can build up some ice on top of the snow that we receive. And then I expect to kind of continue through Saturday morning, and then as the system pushes through, eventually kind of warm up, see that wintry mix, maybe see some rain out in the southeastern part of Wisconsin. But eventually that cold air will filter in behind it and can expect to see some wraparound snow. So it could see an additional inch or two with that. Through Saturday afternoon. But eventually the system will quickly move out of the area late Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and then just kind of be bitterly cold for the start of next week.
What's making this storm be a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, and it seems like it's transitioning and the way it's lining up. Why seems not as typical as some of the snowstorms we've seen, but again, typical, another buzzword.
Yeah, so with these systems, including the one last week, is mainly what's kind of driving this kind of transition is the track of it. And so with the track, models are kind of progging the track to go right over southern Wisconsin. So we're kind of right on that transition line between freezing and below freezing. So areas that kind of get that warmer area tend to get that mix, and areas that stay below freezing will tend to get more of that snow. So kind of the big challenges with these types of storms when it comes right overhead is where's that freezing line going to set up and what kind of precip we're going to see with it.
Is that take the snowfall into a kind of a heavier snowfall? So when we're talking about people going out and shoveling this, snow blowing, are we thinking this is like that heavy wet snow, or is it? What are we thinking on that front?
So closer to that line where you get that freezing, you can get that more wet snow. But as you go further north, more towards like central Wisconsin, you can probably see a little bit lighter snow. But with it being kind of right on that transition line, yeah, we can probably see some heavier wet snow with it.
Well, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. When we're talking about the hazards with the storm, you kind of mentioned a few of those, but overall, what impacts are we expecting from this storm?
So some of the biggest impacts will be travel impacts. It is the weekend, so people are going out and about, going to dinner or whatever. But so the roads can be slick, snow covered, but hopefully they can get out there with our forecast and pre-treat the roads, so they shouldn't be too bad. But you can see with that ice buildup in more of the southern area, can see some more slick spots associated with that transition in the wintry mix. Overall, it's going to mainly be the travel impacts, and then behind the system is going to be that bitter cold.
So nothing like, it's sort of like a sucker punch. And I know that is not a weather term by any means, but nothing like hitting you when you're down. Safety-wise, Kevin, what can we tell folks to do? I know we're in the middle of winter, but we saw high reports of traffic crashes last weekend. What are some of the safety tips we could get out there for folks?
If you can avoid traveling in the snows and the wintry mix, it'd be best to kind of alter your plans to stay home. But if you have to, make sure you definitely slow down, use caution, definitely get plenty of space between cars. But But for the best thing to do is probably just try to alter plan, see if you can avoid the worst of the storm, which will be tonight into early tomorrow morning.
And then finally, I see we do have winter weather advisories in place to take over this afternoon. Do you think that will move up to a winter storm warning? Does the storm have potential? I see as we move farther to the north and to the west, they've got even blizzard warnings into Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's definitely worse further up towards the Minnesota area. But for us, it's looking mainly in a pretty safe area around the winter weather advisory. Up towards that Sheboygan, Fond du Lac area, you could see some heavier snow amounts with that lake enhancement that could happen with the winds coming off the lake. So you could see a couple more inches, maybe see a couple more inches up there. So we are looking at it. We'll see how it evolves through the afternoon and if we upgrade it there. But for the most part, for southern Wisconsin, it's looking mostly like a winter weather advisory.
Yeah, so I think definitely planning ahead here as you head out is going to be crucial for this storm. Kev, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to give you a chance to talk about meteorology and predicting these things. After last weekend, there were some people who were a little flustered. Now, I love you guys, so I'll go to bat for you every day. But do want to talk about how complicated it can be. Yet the technology you guys have is amazing. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. We'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.